Alright guys, city adjustment part 2. The first part of this topic was pretty simple. We were looking at storing a group of 3, compressing some roads, and making room for another group of 3, which would be more Feta and the Earth's Guardians kits back here. Right? So that's a pretty simple adjustment. The main thing to remember from that video is that when we're making these changes, we're adding up the entire space of what we're storing as well as what we're hoping to plant in exchange. That's the key part of that. So up until this topic, most of my videos have been looking at designing a city from scratch, like a complete reorganization. This video is looking at making adjustments to an already well-organized city. This is going to be a little more complicated, but I think you guys will appreciate it. One of the main reasons I have this S pattern like this is to give me this horizontal flexibility at either end of this bottom group, and putting roadless below that also gives me some vertical flexibility off this bottom pattern. And for the most part, this group stays pretty much the same, minor adjustments here and there, but most of the hardware changes that I'm doing are left to right, and vertically off of this bottom section. So let's take a look at how that would work practically. I'm going to clear that out real quick. So just for context, my current project is printing fragments for more airship, more Feta, and more Jester stages. And I normally wouldn't have Sun Havens planted, but this is kind of a temporary setup just so I can keep cranking out some of those fragments. Once I'm done with this project, these will go away, and I'll fill that space back in with 2 Eco Sanctums, which is what I had there before, just for the blue galaxy purposes. So that this is all kind of temporary, and then part of that strategy is to gradually replace these Metros with more Colossus. One of the comments on the last video I did, the part 1 of this, was asking why I have so many Feta, and this is a big part of that. The alligators that I have planted, I don't have much population left over, so in order to continue planting Colossus, I need to consolidate my population consumption. So Feta is pound for pound not as good as alligator, arguably, right? But we can all agree that Colossus is pretty top notch. So in order to make room for Colossus, I need to save population with the Feta project, if that makes sense. Once I print enough Feta, I'm actually going to store all of my Aegeans as well, and then continue planning more airships behind that. So I'm going to need population for that project as well. So kind of threefold here. We're planning Jesters to eliminate Gators, planning Feta to eliminate Gators, and then planting airships to eliminate Aegeans after I accumulate enough Feta. Make sense? So I'm going to pause it real quick. Let's look at how we would do this practically, because obviously I have a 4x4 there, and it's not going to be easy to fit a 6x6 in that position. So let's take a look at how we would do that practically. So the main thing to remember from the first part of this, when we're talking about swapping out hardware, all we need to do is add up the total amount of space of what we're trying to plant and what we're trying to get rid of. So 2 Ecos is 36 plus 36, 72 squares. Sun Havens are temporary, so we've already talked about planning or storing those. There's 3 times 16 gives me 48. Part of this project is also to store Metro, so there's 64 squares. We're going to bring him down. And then check this out. These are temporary buildings that I've kind of planted in coordination with this project, so they should expire by the time I'm ready to replant my ecos. So we're at 64 total. There's 68 and 72. So we now have, I mean, these are going to expire. And then these top 4 buildings we've already talked about storing. So it's not like I'm losing hardware that I didn't want to part with. All this is pre-planned to be stored. So we have 72 squares worth of space right now, but obviously not going to be able to fit an Ecosanctum in there easily, okay? The nice thing about this S pattern though, remember, like I said, it's flexible left to right. And pretty easy to make these adjustments. We're going to compress this row by 2. I'm just going to slap these trees in here for now, just so they're planted. Have one more gap somewhere. There you go. So we're left with the 3 Sun Havens, the Metro, and then the 2 wish fountains that we knew we're going to get rid of anyways. And then 2 additional roads, which would be this extra space in here. Oops. Okay. And we now have 2 spaces made for 2 6x6s. Yep. And obviously we've got a Moogle connected along a road, and then some trees that are disconnected. Pretty minor adjustments there though. So pretty quick and dirty, and you guys watched me do that in real time. Took maybe 5 minutes to make that change. So the key ingredients, remember, just count up the total number of squares that you're trying to manipulate, and then use this flexibility in the S pattern left to right to accommodate. And let's say if the building was a 7x4, right, we would be able to shift these roadless groups up and rearrange the shape of those roadless groups. That's part of the reason why I'm prioritizing the Feta over alligators. Roadless is just, first of all, your gator might be a better building, but in reality it's actually 8 squares versus the 6 squares on a Feta, because you're handcuffed to the roads that go with it. So eliminating gator actually creates additional Feta over time. Eliminating the population demand from Gator also eliminates the need for population supply from buildings like Serene Animal, which are extremely efficient on population, but the goods in forge points are pretty mediocre on them. So Feta is, let's see, what would that be? 4 extra forge points as well as 30 extra goods, and then 60 extra guild goods compared to the Animal Crossing. So even though Alligator outperforms Feta, the pair of Alligator plus the Serene Animal that it requires to sustain that population, at that point Feta does become slightly more productive. So I think that about covers it. Pretty quick and dirty, like I said, but if I can do that in 5 minutes, you can see that it would be pretty easy to spend 5 more and get these trees connected. And like I said, eventually this is going to get replaced with probably another sunflower press thing. So this road group would get shuffled around anyways. Pretty easy adjustments though. So I think that's it. Drop me a like and subscribe if you guys appreciate this info, and I'll talk to you soon.